Morning. Lorraine Sish here from Stampin' Up. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator and here in the Baltimore area of Maryland. And I welcome you to Coffee in the Cart. We'll wait for some people to hop on. I know some of you are regulars and you get to meet and craft with me most Friday mornings. And that's really a lot of fun. I look forward to it all the time. Um, so I'm just drinking water today. Didn't have time to do the coffee, and I'm going out later for lunch. Actually, no, I'm not going for lunch today. I'm going to play mahjong today. That's what I'm doing. I need to get a little lunch before I go. But yeah, so cheers to you, whatever you're drinking today. Like I said, just have my water, and I'm good to go. So when you're joining on, please say hello. Um, Tell us where you're from, where you're watching. If you're part of the Daisy team, tell us that too. A lot of my team members pop on and we support each other. That's what a team does, right? Hey, we enjoy crafting together. We have our team meetings once a month. We're always in touch with each other and supporting each other's businesses and crafting experiences and Facebook pages, whatever. That's what we do. We're like a little family. So if you are ever thinking of joining Stampin' Up, we can talk. I give me a shout out and we can set it up and you can be part of the Daisy team too. Okay, so nice to see Debbie and Anna and Tina this morning. Excellent. Yeah, Tina's from Western Maryland, not too far from me. One day we'll meet, Tina, okay? We'll get there somehow. Hi, Shirley and Lydia. Nice to see you all today. I had a nice lunch with Lydia last week. We got to meet. She's on the Daisy team. All right, look at all my friends. Michelle, Pat, good morning. I'm going to confess that today I'm going to be a little quick and I'm going to cut it a little short because just before I came on, I got a phone call of something that I have to take care of that's really kind of important. So I'm going to cut it a little short today. We'll go, 30, 40 minutes or so. Okay. So I'm going to give you the basics of a fun fold card. There's so many different versions of fun folds, right? Different accordion and gate folds and a lot of things. And sometimes just a little tweak can give it a different look. So I'm going to show you, I picked out 2 designer series papers, Thoughtful Journey. And I'm going to show you, I haven't used this one yet. Give me a second. Full of Life. I was going to say life is good. That's what's on my shirt. Okay, Full of Life designer series paper. They're both 6x6 and a very different look. So you'll see the same card with a little bit different, with a very different vibe to it, so to speak. All right. So good morning, everybody. Don't forget to say hello, like I said. Yeah. Oh, Lydia, nice. We'll do it again. All right. It was easy to meet where we did. So excellent. The food was delicious too. I even had leftovers. Oh, it was. We both had flatbread with arugula, fig jam. What they call it, sharp provolone, I think it was, and truffle oil. Mm. And it usually comes with prosciutto, which Lydia had, but I don't eat meat, so I told them just throw on a little extra arugula and I'll be happy. It was really, really good. It was even good the next day. A nice lunch the next day too. All right, let me clear my desk a little bit here, and we are going to get started because I have several different things to show you. Like I said, I did some of the cards part way, and first one I'm going to start from scratch so that you kind of see the process of how we're going to go along. I'm not going to totally finish them all because, like I said, I'm going to be short on time today. Things like stamp your sentiments here and whatever, but that's stuff you can handle on your own, I am sure. So anyway, let's get started right away. And yay, Lynn, you made it. Awesome. Okay, we are good this morning, right? Any day that starts with stamping has to be a good one, right? All right, I'm going to switch my camera and then I'll show you how we get started. All right, and I will post the measurements later. To be honest, probably tonight because like I said, I have to take care of a little something and I'm going out. So we will start with a sheet of cardstock. I'm doing Blackberry Bliss to start, and I'm going to cut that to 5.5, the long ways. All right. Let me get my paper trimmer here. Oh, this was a great idea that I saw from demonstrator Patty Bennett. I don't know if anybody follows her, but I too have always been a little uncomfortable with when I'm measuring my paper and I go up to a line. Let's say I want to go to 4. If I go up to the line, well, my paper covers the 4. And sometimes I'll measure it and say, no, wait a minute, am I really on the 4? I have to slide it back and then go over again. She said that she took an adhesive, a reverse ruler. So that means it starts from right to left. And there's adhesive on the back. And she attached it to this upper rim of the paper cutter so that you can see the numbers right there. I can see, yep, I'm right at the 4. They're nice and big. The unfortunate part was, okay, I was looking on Amazon. I didn't look all over Creation. Okay, if Amazon doesn't, whatever. Most of them were metal, but they're really, really thin. And you know, they roll, they bend. They're made for carpenters, I guess, to put on their tools so that they can measure. So kind of like what we are doing here. It came in a roll, and I think it went to. Oh, I have it right here. Okay, it's a 6-foot measurement. Obviously, I only needed 6 inches because on my cutter, this part doesn't go all the way across. All right, so I'm just gonna, when I go further than 6 inches, I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. But unfortunately, this was more than I wanted to spend for just a little 6-inch thing. But I figured, you know what? It's going to make my life easier. I'm going to go for it. I forget how much it was, $9 or $8. I don't know, something like that. But I said, oh, the heck with it. I was getting tired of looking for exactly what I wanted. And I said, oh, just doing it. Just doing it. Sometimes, you know, you might spend $9 on a sandwich and it's gone in a half an hour. I spent $9 or whatever it was, and I'm going to use it forever. So that's how I rationalize sometimes. This crazy, right? Linda, oh my gosh, hello. Nice to see you on here, my old friend. Not that you're old, but old-time friend. Oh my gosh, Linda and I knew each other from elementary school, went all through high school together. How are you? My. Nice to see you on. I know she's commented and been following me. Never seen you on a live. Okay, so I'm going to cut to 5.5 here. This is going to be scrap. Actually, I'll cut one more piece out of that. And then I'm going to turn it horizontally, and I'm going to score it every 1 3/4 inches 4 times. All right, so I'm going to start at 1 3/4. Move my cutter out of the way. How many times have we cut instead of scored, right? Okay, 1 3/4, and then another 1 3/4 brings us to 3.5. Add another 1 3/4. We're at 5 1/4. And then we go to 7. Okay. Then we're going to need another piece that is 5 by 3.5. Right, so I know I have 3.5. So I'm going to cut 5 here. Just another scrap. Unfortunately, you can't get this piece from your leftover from the 8.5 by 11, but it's okay. Okay, by 3.5. Wait. 3.5. A little distracted today. I'm so sorry. We're going to score that in half this way. Hold it horizontally going to score the 5 inches in half, so that's 2.5. Right, we're going to fold that, and that's going to be, like a little book, like whatever. Okay, a little fold there, like a little card. And then we need another single piece that is 2.5 by 3.5. Now that you can get out of this. So you're left with 3 inches this way. So I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to cut 3.5 first. And then 2.5 this way. Okay, so that is going to match up with the little card piece. Okay, it's going to be the same size. Just you're going to have one that's folded and opens and one that's plain. Okay, then you will need 3 pieces of white, which I've already cut. All right, these are all the same, and these are, let me check my notes, 3.25 by 2.25. All right, and can you guess where they're going? If they're just a 1/2 inch less, they're going on these. Okay, so one will be there, one will be there, and one will be there. All right. Okay, so that's, you don't want to remember all the measurements, just think about it practically. All right, just 1/2 inch less than that. I mean, yeah, there you go. All right, I can't put this away because I'm going to cut some designer series paper. All right, let me show you how the card is going to get folded first. All right, so you have all of these little score lines here, right? The bigger piece is going to be the back part of the card. So you're going to fold that over, furnish it with your bone folder. And then these score lines here, we're just going to start accordion folding it. So we're going to fold that one back, next one over the other way. And then the last one is going to go from right to left. All right, you're going to get a little accordion fold like that. All right, so the biggest piece is the back of your card. And then we have 4 thin panels that are your 1 3/4. All right. Okay. Yeah, Linda, you probably could use a fabric ruler tape. Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. Now, you want one that's adhesive backed, or you're going to glue it on there. So anyway, also I wanted one that was bold enough to see. So there are plenty of options out there. Yeah, but thank you for mentioning that. That's definitely a good idea. Now we're going to put some strips of DSP on the first and the third panel, and then we're going to put a bigger piece on the back part. So I chose the Thoughtful Journey. Don't you just love this paper? Oh my gosh, this is just so pretty. These beautiful designer papers with these, this side has more of the scenes on it. These little scenes of like meadows and wildflowers. Some have more blues and greens. Some have more oranges or purples. So pretty. So you see, I've chosen this one here. And then we need one, either the back side of the paper, or you can choose another one that you think will match. Okay, something that's going to be more of a background. Okay, so I thought I would use this part for my background, and of course I want the flowers for the fronts. Now, when you have something that looks sort of like a scene, you want to cut it in a way that's going to capture the parts of that scene that you want on your card. So let me cut this part first, and then we can kind of figure out how we want this one. This part here is going to be 5 1/4, because our card is 5 1/2 tall, 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, because this back part is actually 4 inches. So when you close it up, you're going to end up with a 4-inch wide card instead of 4 1/4 that we usually have. All right. So, oh, hello. New friends have joined on. Very nice. Thank you for coming on this morning. Welcome. Okay, if you haven't said hello yet in the comments, please do so. And if you care to, say where you're from. That's always fun too. So we need 5 1/4 by 3 3/4 because we want 1/4 inch smaller than that. So I'm going to, choose a piece that has some of the colors in it. So I might cut a little bit off. No, I won't. I'll go this way. Okay, 5 1/4. That way I get a lot of those colors right in that section there. 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. So if I go here, that will capture a lot of the different colors. Save your little scraps for another project. Right, look how pretty that looks. Very rich, right? Right, now we have to decide on 1 1/2 inch strips because remember these sections were 1 3/4. So now we want just a little smaller. So we're doing 1 1/2 wide by 5 1/4 tall. So I want to kind of get an idea. Obviously, this is 6 inches tall, the paper, so I have to cut some off. And I want to see where I want that cut off. So maybe, all right, so one thing I'm thinking about, this little flap, this little card here is going to go over that part just a little bit there. So I'm going to think about maybe I want these to be a little bit higher so those flowers can poke out over there. So I'm going to cut my excess off the top here. Sometimes you might want to cut a little off the top and a little off the bottom if you want a more centered part to that, which is what I've done on some other cards. But for this one, I think I want these to be as high as possible. So I'm just going to cut off the top here. Actually, I'm just going to cut my 1 1/2 inch first. And even for this, you might decide to do your 1 1/2 inches in a different section. So like I said, when you have a scene, think about where you want that to show up there. So I'm going to just do 1 1/2 from the edge. Oh, here's an example. I might actually move it over more because I want more of this flower here. So I'm just going to cut a little thicker than I need on this side, but I'm going to trim my 1 1/2 to this side here. I'm going to flip it around. If you have something that's geometric or a random pattern, it doesn't matter. You can just cut it anyway. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I love having that way up there. I like having that little bit of blue up there as well. Oops, there we go. So then when this is over, we're still going to see that flower a little bit there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cut off the top. We need 5 1/4. I'd like to keep more of that blue, but that's okay. We'll get more of that later on. So we're going to glue that down onto the front panel. A lot of the greens that are in here are Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. Very pretty. Now, I'm going to take one for this panel here, and I will, okay, this is going to sort of cover that. So, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to cut 1 1/2 over here. And since it's mostly blue on the top, I'm going to cut the top part, trim that down. Don't need quite all that blue. Did I cut that right? Yes, I did. All right. Now, if you wanted to, feel free to put excuse me, designer paper across all those panels if you want, or mix and match them. Put one like this and one like that. Okay, flip it over. Do, the more bold pattern than a more subtle pattern. Could do lots of options with this, just depending on how simple or how busy you want your card. I've even seen people not put designer paper at all on these and just decorate it with the next steps. So it's up to you. Isn't that just so pretty? Just love those colors on there. Okay. And then that's all the cutting we need to do. Let me get my trimmer out of the way. And this piece is going to go on the back. So that's going to look really pretty like that, right? That could even look nice like that, couldn't it? Ooh, I already put glue on there. So I don't know, play around with it. I just was thinking something contrasting, but as I'm looking at it, seeing those flowers kind of going down the hill there and having all that blue, that has a lot of contrast to it already. That could have looked really nice too. I'll have to remember that for next time. Okay, thanks, Linda. Watching from Sydney, BC. Oh, nice. Welcome. Do you pronounce your name Ina? Is it Ina Nelson? Okay. Now, these are the parts that we get to decorate. And then this is where you have a lot of leeway, so to speak. I was thinking that perhaps this poised peony, I know these are more thistle, but I thought this peony kind of looked like it could work on here. I'm going to give it a try and show you how I do that. It's aligned art, so usually you need to color it in, or you can just leave it as is. It could be sort of used as a background. You have a large, a medium, and a small flower here. So I'm going to show you how to get it to look kind of like this. If you were to just stamp this, you could just stamp it in black if you wanted to. I'll show you the difference. 1 second here. And then color it in. Using your alcohol markers. I have light old olive here. All right, and then this one I did Blackberry Bliss. I'm actually going to try some Highland Heather this time. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, I'll have to call that person back, or they'll call me back. Okay, of course, you can add some shading into here. Just wanted to show you the difference in ways you can color this. Okay, so I could go back and add a little shading in some of the other areas. Okay, so now, remember, this is Blackberry Bliss and this is the Highland Heather. But you see the difference, how this has, you see the lines a little bit more there. And I was thinking if I want it a little more subtle, and I want the lines to match up with the greens and the purples to match up with the petals, then I'll show you how you can do that. So let me clean off my stamp here. Because I just thought for this card, it might look a little softer than having this line art here. It's kind of like the style just didn't work for me because this is more of a watercolor look. All right, so I'm going to show you 2 options here. Actually, I'm going to try something different. Try something new. Let me just cut a piece of paper here. To get more of a watercolor look, this might work out. So I'm trying this rogue here, guys. You know, I like to try some things just in front of you for the first time. So we're going to see different options. All right, these are two. All right, now the way I did this one here, I took, not my alcohol markers. I took my regular Stampin' Write markers, okay, the water-based markers. This is the same kind of ink that's in your ink pads. And I took the thick end, the brush tip end, and I ran it, let me get close here, use the side of it to color the lines that were the leaf only. Making sure I get good coverage there. This is a good thing to do if you just have markers for different ink pads instead of the ink pads. Like if you don't have a certain color, you can always do this to your stamp if you have the marker. But some people have more, you can have more variety of markers at a cheaper cost than buying all the ink pads. Unfortunately, if you use a particular color a lot, you're really going to want the ink pad. All right, for the outline, I'm taking the Blackberry Bliss for two reasons. One, when I go over it with the Highland Heather, it will show some nice detail. And secondly, my Highland Heather marker is dried out, so I can't even try it with that one today. Okay, so making sure all those edges are covered. Now, as you can imagine, some of it could be drying out, right? Good thought. So what you want to do is, because it's water-based, you can reactivate that ink by huffing on it. You know, when you huff on a glass or mirror, it shows the moisture in your breath, right? So that's what you want to do on your stamp. And you can just stamp it. So now you have a little bit softer image than you did with that black outline. Okay, so then I can color it in. I'm going to take my light old olive. And it also shows a little bit of contrast because my light old olive alcohol marker obviously is a little lighter than regular old olive. If I wanted to, I could take the dark one and go back in and add a little bit more shading, which I might do later. And then I'm going to use the Highland Heather over the Blackberry Bliss flower petals. I like using the brush tip because I can get in the crevices with the tiny, tiny tip there, but I can also get some wider coverage with the side of the brush. Okay, now I'm just going to go over the whole thing first, and then I'll come back and add some extra shading in there. I'm not even totally sure I'm going to like this on this card, but I figured let's give it a try and see what happens, right? Plenty of times I've tried some things with you and said, well, I don't like it. So we go on to something else, right? All right, one more thing I'm going to try to do to show you how to get a little bit more of a watercolor look is, again, I'm going to come back and, oops, wrong marker. I'm going to color it in the way I did before. And where's the, okay. See, on the side of the markers, it has a little picture, brush tip and a more firm felt tip. Let me do this again. I know you're anxious to see the whole card put together. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like going off on a little side road here. But we'll get it all together. All right. Okay, Stampin' Write markers. Do I outline the darker colors first? You mean as I'm doing this here, Lydia? I actually like to do the lighter color. Um, if you're talking about doing something like this, because if my darker color butts up against the lighter color, it's not going to ruin my marker. Not going to get on my marker. It's not going to be seen. But if I got the Blackberry Bliss on the old olive, I might have to like clean it off on my pad a little bit and my grid paper. Okay, so instead of huffing this time, I'm going to give it a little spritz of water, and it's going to spread that ink a little more than what my breath could do and give us a little bit more of a watercolor look. So let's see how this goes here. Usually it's kind of fun to do this when you have a solid stamp, but let's see what happens with our line art. All right, I just have the spray bottle here. This has water in it. Just going to hold it back. I don't want to get it on anything else. I do want you to see me do that. All right, now you can see it's kind of bubbled up on there, right? Spreading that ink. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to do it on the same paper here. Might not like it at all. Might be too much water. You have to kind of experiment a little bit. All right, now we're going to give it a little time to dry. You see how it's a little softer, not such hard edges on there? Yeah, I can see it more in the leaves and the lower parts of the petals. So that could be another option if you want a little bit of a softer look. And once it's all dry, as it's drying, it kind of spreads a little bit more too. So then it is pretty dry already. You can come back and add some color. And that look might be more in keeping with what's on the designer paper. So that's where this is all leading to. Okay. Actually, I'm going to try something. I'm putting this darker color down in there, making little highlights. Let me try an even lighter. Let me go to the Fresh Freesia and see if I can blend that in. Oh, actually, that's a dark Highland Heather. My light one is dried out a little bit here. Yeah, that's not looking good. I need a new one. Whoops. That's what happened there. All right, let me try some Freesia and try blending that in a little bit. That might look nice. Might be a little too pink. I don't know. That's the light Freesia. Let me come in with a little more dark. Blending those colors in. Getting it to match these colors just a little bit more. Okay, if it doesn't blend right away, give it a minute. As it soaks in there, it'll get there. All right, so that's kind of similar colors there. I'm not totally sure I like that image for this card, but I'll show you some other options. Okay. So this piece, which one would I like to do first? Okay, I'm going to do this one first. This piece is going to I like to think of it as it's like just going to sort of grab the folded pieces. You're going to keep them all folded together like this. And you want that to kind of be centered in your card from all the sides there. All right. I guess you could always put it a little higher if you wanted. I don't know if it would look good lower, but centered is good. Okay. So think about it. When it opens, it's just going to attach to the first panel and the fourth panel. And it's not going to be able to open all the way, right? You're always going to have that bend in this fold up here. So I want to put, so I'm going to put tear tape on here and here. You want a strong adhesive because it's going to get a lot of movement. So last thing you want is your card popping open, right? Breaking when somebody's opening it. So the tear and tape is a great option. You can tear it right off or you can cut it. And just put it on the edge. It'll be fine. Okay, if you have trouble peeling off the paper on the edge, just press it down further, okay? It'll come up. All right. So now I'm going to actually center it this way on the back first. And I'm going to then lay this over with the tear and tape. Like I said, it's good adhesive. It's going to stick. So that's good and bad. If you want to move it, that's not a good thing. And then we're going to fold this other one over on top. And then that's what we have. All right. Then this one is going to go directly behind that. All right, so I am going to use glue on this one. I like using liquid glue because I can shift it a little bit before it completely dries to make sure I have it in the right spot. All right, so we want to be right under there. So here's one way to do it. Center it up with that piece and fold it over. All right, I'm going to double check it. Yep, it looks good. Here we go. All right, then this is going to go here with a sentiment on there. Haven't quite decided what I wanted to do yet. And then these whites are going to go on here with maybe a flower on there. I think I kind of like the Blackberry Bliss, but I need a new one of those too. My tip got a little ruined on that one. So another thing you can do is to put on some, I'm not going to put these on completely. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue to make it a temporary hold, okay? That way you get the idea of what it's all going to look like, because when I stamp it, I don't want it to be on my card itself. All right, I'm just going to smear it a little bit so it dries. Just like that. All right, you would have put these on first, of course, right? I just wanted to show you how it was all going to come together. Okay, so you have your sentiment. You can have an image on the front. Same thing here and same thing here. Let me show you a card that a friend of mine, Nadine, sent to me as a birthday card a while ago now. And this is the same layout here. So you can see you can stamp something on the front, have a sentiment, your embellishments. You open it up, you can have more stamped images and more sentiments there. Okay, so have something contrasting over here. If you wanted, put more of DSP on those panels, or if you like the contrast, then that works too. We both happen to use the same Blackberry Bliss. This was from a few years ago already. I like to keep some of my cards around to remind me of my special stampers. All right, so let me show you the next one. Again, I'm going to not go too much longer here, but I want to show you different options. Using the same DSP, the Thoughtful Journey, I went with a different pattern this time, and I went with Pretty Peacock card base using these panels here, and then a totally separate piece here. Okay, I'm seeing this a lot of light from my window coming in, which I love. But I see it is looking like it's washing out the colors on my camera here. So I don't know what you're seeing. But anyway, so this is ties in some wild weed greens with the peacock. Okay, and then of course this would go here, and this is our little card that will get put over here, right? And we have our pieces of white. And this time I cut out in Pretty Peacock and Wild Wheat some die cuts from, here you go, the Flowers of Beauty, that has these sprigs here of these nice little dies here. They're really nice because they have that wildflower look to them. So just putting some of these on here, I would cut them down, of course. Could be really nice. And I could put my little sentiment up on top there. And that would look lovely as my card front. Right, tying in those colors there. I'll finish these all up later. And then decorate any, take just pieces of it. And I could have some coming down from the top if I want. A little from the bottom, do the corners. Okay, so lot of options. You can get a lot out of these little die cuts here. And then have my sentiment and whatever else on the inside there. All right, so just wanted to show you that color combo. So we have these two from, thanks, Lydia. I'm glad you like them. All right. Good morning, Barbara. Team Daisy. Woohoo. And now to go for something totally different. Yeah, I'm not going to put it all together, just showing you some ideas. Watch my Facebook page. And I'll show you the finished products later tonight or tomorrow. All right. So now this time, Daffodil Delight card base. And I'm using the Full of Life Designer Series paper, which has these amazing graphic and bright, bold colors to them. When I first saw this, some people were winning this at the convention I went to. And I was like, nah, I hope I don't win that one. I don't really care for it. I like it. I do love it. For those nice bright cards, they could be kids cards, masculine cards, feminine cards, whatever. They work for anybody. So I am loving it for that reason. Haven't used it a whole lot yet. But anyway, so here's what I did. I cut the paper from this. Okay, that was a whole sheet there. Cut off parts that I wanted for my strips. And then the back was this watercolor or, this watercolor look here. So this one super, super bright and colorful. You can see this fold can work for any design, anything. Whatever your style is. And who wouldn't like a fun fold, right? Okay, so decide, do you want these both going in? I think I want them kind of this way. They kind of draw my eye into the card, so I'm having the angles coming down this way. You can decide your card. Anything would look great. Like I said, we usually hem and haw too much over the details when sometimes it could be a good thing to be thoughtful, but sometimes it could be just overthinking it. Like I said, somebody's not going to look at your card and wish you had done it a different way. I should really should turn that paper the other way. Not going to happen. I'm just going to say thank you for sending a beautiful card. Okay, now this paper doesn't have coordinating stamps except for big, bold images. And actually there is something with a heart. But I love how you have that variation of the lines and then the watercolor splash over here. And when we put that all together, you're going to get some nice contrast with your white paper. And then I was thinking, what could I put on the front? Now, the front part, like I said, has a white piece. Okay, that does have white. You can stamp it, put your sentiment on there. But you could also, if you wanted to, just use some more designer paper for that layer. And I thought maybe then I could put some white daisies on there, and that could look really, really cute, I thought. So that's one option. Or if I did do the white over there, obviously the white daisies don't show up quite as much. You can always take your blending brush and add color to the daisies for a little splash, a little contrast. You could use different color daisies. I cut out some in the yellow and the petunia there. And so I could make a little bouquet with the different colors, taking some of them and mixing them up there. So lots of options there, and come back tonight, tomorrow, and see where all this goes. Okay. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for letting me cut you a little short today. And I hope you can try out that fun fold. So very quickly, if you're taking notes, 5.5 by 11. Okay, start by 5.5 by 11. Score 1 3/4 4 times. All right, so that's the easiest way to remember. 1 3/4, another 1 3/4, another 1 3/4, another 1 3/4, and you end up with 4 over here. And then you just fit your designer paper 1/4 inch less than those dimensions, and then you're good. All right, this part here can be any size, obviously. All right, so if you're anxious to try this, just go for it. This was actually 5 by 3, and I say 5 by 3.5. Okay, so those are your basic things that you really, really need to know if you're going to give this a try. All righty. So, oh, hi, Marilyn. Thank you. Glad you like it. Hi, Colette. You like the fun fold. Can't wait to play with it. Okay, great. Thanks, Colette. I hope you share. Right. So please share. We love to see what other people do. You like to see what I do. I like to see what you do. And a lot of you come up with some great ideas other than what I'm doing, and I can't do it all. So I love if you share what you've done and your take on my fun folds or style card or whatever. All right. So like I said, thank you for bearing with me, and I will see you next time. All right. Bye-bye now. Take care.